The digital divide. With the online world becoming more important every day, it is important that we become digitally literate. However, as this presentation will focus on, there is a digital divide created from the disadvantages that stand in the way of people becoming digitally literate. Digital literacies can be defined as those who exhibit a critical understanding and capability for living, learning and working in the digital society. It has been found that in the UK, 80% of households have internet access. This makes the digital world even bigger than what it used to be. Digital literacies have developed into something more than just a set of functional skills. It is how an individual engages with technology and how they make use of it. With being digitally literate comes the negative impact of the digital divide. This describes the concern about unequal access and participation in new technologies. There are many different ways how digital inequalities can arise. One way is through attainment levels. If a child comes from a wealthy background, they are more likely to have internet access and the technology needed to access this. The children here are more likely to have the access to technologies such as an iPad. There are now apps designed specifically for children's learning. This therefore puts children at a disadvantage in comparison to their peers by the time they start primary school. This is seen in their ability of using technology and in aspects of learning. DiMaggio and his colleagues found that using computers at home was reflected positively in school reading and maths tests. However, it is also found that the setting that technology is introduced in has an impact on how well it reflects in education. For example, those who had been introduced to technology at home had positive changes in their learning, but those who had only been introduced to technology in classrooms didn't show to have any change in their educational learning. Another problem worsening the digital divide is the ability for teachers today to educate their students on the use of technology. In the past, technology was rarely used, especially not in education. That means that there is currently a generation of teachers who are most likely to be behind in the use of technology. The digital divide can worsen if the new generation are not being taught properly on effective ways of using technology. If technology is used in lessons, children will feel more confident themselves in using technology. Another barrier to closing the digital divide is access to content. In some countries, certain access to social media and content is blocked. For example, in China, there is no access to Facebook, Twitter or YouTube. Instead, there are Chinese social media sites used, and blogging is a major part of online culture. China has the world's largest internet user base and has the most active environment for social media. Not having access to the content others around the world have can limit an individual's learning potential. Students can have the access to communicate with other students in a different country easily through the use of Facebook. With China not having access to this, it limits their participation in education. In response to the digital divide, there have been initiatives set up. One was set up in New York, which gave a mobile phone with internet access to the homeless. This was in an attempt to get them online and participating in the digital world. With the realisation that near enough everything has now moved online, from job applications to finding homes for sale, the homeless were at an extreme disadvantage. From this initiative, saw many of the homeless find jobs or a place to live. Another initiative set up was the One Laptop Per Child mission, which gave every child a laptop in remote areas to improve on their education. There were 5 core principles with this mission. The first was that the children got to keep the laptop, meaning that the child had the technology needed to become digitally literate. The second was a focus on early education for children between the ages of 6 and 12, meaning that the child had access to more opportunities before they had to leave school. The third principle was that no child got left out, ensuring equal opportunities for all. The fourth principle was providing access to the internet to further improve on their education, and the final principle was that the laptop would have everything that the child needed. The initiative was effective and is still being developed today. To conclude, I agree that being digitally literate is an important aspect of our daily lives. Without it, we have little means of communication and restricted access to learning. This is the digital divide, which sees an inequality in the learning opportunities of others with restricted access to online content. This can put individuals at an extreme disadvantage to others. I feel that the two initiatives I mentioned are an effective way in starting the challenge of closing the digital divide.